Part 1. The Locomotive Menace. Night Tremors. Rustic starry night had fallen upon the cows of Dolfield farm. Jaws rested from chewing, udders rested from wrenching, and the tan-hided Jersey herd lay dozing in darkness. All was quiet but for the wheezing of great nostrils, the smacking of great gums, and the scattered rumble of snorers, their bovine bellies resonating like bass violins. There should have been dreams of the loveliest grasses, of meadows that never went brown, of dashing bulls and sweet-faced calves, of gentle milkmaids with treats in their delicate white hands. There should have been. But there was a peculiar edginess to this meadow of Dolfield farm, as though sleep was not quite so easy to come by as it should be in such a leisurely, grass-blessed place, secured by a sturdy meadow fence that protected the herd from the outside world and the railway tracks skirting the property. It appeared to be the unease of sensing cruel predators just upon the perimeter, waiting to strike. Yet men had long since cleared away the gnashing beasts that threatened herds. The only creatures left that might dare bare fangs at cattle kind were the foxes, hounds, cats, or weasels, and these were easily stomped by such meadow giants in any struggle for life. And long gone was the era of snarling, spear-wielding warriors raiding cattle under moonlight. Not even a folk memory remained to concern any cow. Yet still the herd could not sleep in peace. At the slightest breeze, ears would twitch, hides would bristle, and teeth would grind, cudless. When a bird or beast might rustle a branch in the wood across the railway, hooves would grip the turf ready for sudden flight, and soft eyes would widen in alarm, before closing once more as the cow tried desperately to escape into distracting dreams of any theme, even nightmares of smoking branding irons if they must. What on earth was it, then, that troubled these poor animals so? Was it a type of madness afflicting them, or even a genuine curse? In a sense it was both. And so this night, as the rails began to hum, and smoke spilled like ink into the sky, and potent lamplight made its ominous appearance, the distress in Dolfield meadow only grew. But this would be quite normal, surely, for animals to stir anxiously before an oncoming train in the dark hours. What creature could sleep calmly through the passing of such a tremendous, raucous machine? Oh, there was something more than mere disturbance in the eyes of the Dolfield cows, which sprung open now in unison. There was a fear that should not be expected in creatures safe and sound behind that guarding fence, creatures that had surely experienced the passing of countless speeding, steaming, screaming locomotives while growing up alongside such a track. The train was in sight now, charging towards, copper-streaked light of astonishing power blazing forth from its tremendous headlamp, fixed atop the fuselage like a great searching eye, complete with a lid-like hood. The mighty armored wedge of a cowcatcher jutted from the engine like the chin of a roaring lion. But even the bravest pride of lions would cower in the presence of such a track-bound behemoth. Cows hauled themselves to their feet, and those closest to the fence hurried deeper into the meadow and averted their own eyes from the approaching machine best they could. But a handful of cows that had looked over became stunned by the sight, transfixed by it, then began to rush in the very worst direction, straight towards the track. Others, keeping their eyes averted, tried to stop these herdmates, barging them and tugging their tails. And some had the transfixion broken as their eyes were wrenched from the train. But the rest charged into the fence, ramming and kicking it, all with their gaze locked upon the steaming, beaming locomotive. Another herdmate was saved and another pair likewise. But eventually a cow collapsed the upper crossbar of a fence section and finally broke through, leaping out and running straight over to the railway, hooves clunking on a weathered wooden strut as she came to a halt between the rails. There she stood side on, just staring at the iron monster charging towards, staring with complete and utter calm, the only tremors coming from the track below. And the train would not slow, or even blow a warning whistle, but only kept charging, and even seemed to charge harder still. The massive metallic body dwarfed all animals, even the great-boned cattle of these meadows, and the smoke from its funnel now gushed like bloody gore from a great wound, bleeding over the fine starscape and turning the night an even darker shade. Suddenly a brave cow, with a shield-like white marking upon her forehead, rushed through the broken fence up to the track and began tugging upon the tail of the dumbstruck animal and mooing in panicked tones. But the frozen creature held firm, and beasts of this size cannot easily be moved, even by others of their kind. The locomotive towered and raged. It was upon them, and the brave one was forced to abandon this rescue attempt to save her own life, and dived away, ditching into the turf. With an immense wave of light and sound, the great train streaked through. Carriages passed and passed, seeming never to end. The world shook and rumbled, every timber, stalk, and fiber of Dolfield trembling. The animals now risked turning their gaze upon the retreating locomotive, and perhaps it was simply a trick of fear, but the billowing smoke streaming by seemed to lash about, moving too violently for wind to be the cause. Finally the last carriage passed, and the last rumble left the rails. The meadow of Dolfield farm fell silent once more, but only for an instant. Haunting bellowing soon sounded as the cows gathered before the bloodied body of their fallen herdmate, lying dead just beyond the meadow fence, hurled from the track by the colliding locomotive. Her name was Sheila, a young cow yet to birth 2 calves. The herd grieved, and with horns lowered, cows paid due respect to the dear companion of theirs, a fine milker and loyal herdmate. The best grass of the field was collected and placed beside the head of the deceased, so that she might have sustenance on her long wagon ride to the afterlife, where her soul would then graze for eternity in meadows that never frosted over, with sweet shoots that never ceased to rise.